I'm Aniche Smith, and today on Beyond the Runway, we have the amazing Evion. He's going to be talking about everything from him being HIV positive and being open with it. And then later on in the show, we're going to have Greg Wilson come out. He's going to talk about Reach LA and what they do for the community. So you don't want to go nowhere. This is Beyond the Runway. Hello and welcome to Beyond the Runway. I am Aniche Smith, and today we have on the show one of my good friends, Evion. How you doing?
Hi, how are you today?
I'm high. How are you today? How are you doing? So you have a country accent. Can you please tell me where you're from?
Well, I was originally born in Cleveland, Ohio. I was raised in Miami, Florida. My parents had joint custody, and when my parents divorced at about I was 2 or 3, my dad took me.
Your dad
So I
took
grew
you?
up in Florida.
Okay, usually you go with the mom, so your dad had took you.
Oh, my dad is gay, and he wanted to try to guide me in the right path, so we went.
Wait, okay, so guide you on the right path. Okay,
Oh,
so
my parents knew I was gay coming out the womb. Like, they saw that already. They said, oh, he's one of the gays.
so do you think you was born gay?
Yeah, I do, actually. It's funny because I have a twin. She's gay as well, and then all of my other brothers and sisters are bisexual. Yeah.
Oh, so it runs in the family.
I think it does.
Okay, cool. So you from Miami, Florida? Well, you was born in Miami, Florida.
In Cleveland.
Oh, Cleveland, Ohio.
And then raised in Florida.
It's very cold there, huh?
In Cleveland?
Yeah.
I know it's super cold. It snows. I don't do cold weather.
Okay, so you appreciate LA weather.
Well, it's pretty much the same as Miami. It's just dry heat.
Dry heat, okay. So you came to LA. Can you please tell me a little bit about that transition? How did you get here? Yeah.
Yeah, I was in a relationship for about 4 years. We were engaged. He cheated the whole time, and I knew that he cheated, but I believe that things can be worked out. You don't always have to, in our lifestyle, someone cheats or does something, they call it quits and they're done. I really tried to do everything that I could to work it out. I came home one day and I caught him in bed with my friend and another one of his friends, and they were having a threesome. I'm not going to say that I didn't know about it, the things that he were doing, but for it to be directly in my face, it took me to a whole nother place.
See, now, if that would have happened to me, they would have been dead. I would have came up in there and I would have looked, then I would have went and I would have boiled some lye and I would have came and threw it on them. I'm just playing.
I wish that I could, but I'm a licensed social worker.
Okay.
So if I go to jail for domestic violence or anything like that, they will clearly take that away from me.
Okay, can I ask you what you did when you seen that? Like, what did your heart drop? Well, of course it did, but but what did you do?
I mean, my heart dropped. I literally went to the house to grab some yogurt because it was around the corner from my job. So I just wanted a snack.
Okay.
So I was upset. I yelled. I fussed. I did try to run the guy over with my car. But then I had to bring it back and say, it's not worth it. Everything happens for a reason. So I locked myself in the house for about 3 months, took a medical leave from my job. I just secluded myself from everybody and everything. And it got to the point where I can't live my life like this. So I said, well, why not come all the way to LA and start over?
So was that like a dream of yours to always come here, or you just was like, I'm just going to go to LA?
I used to come here a lot for work. Not LA per se, but Palm Springs and San Francisco and things like that for different conferences and helping set up different nonprofits. So I had sort of a feel for the land, and I knew that I really liked it here and to be able to see mountains. And, Florida's very flat.
Yeah.
So that kind of intrigued me a little bit.
Okay. So you said you was a social worker. How did you get into that?
I got into social work actually when I started off at school. I was an architect major. And about that time, I found out that I was HIV positive. I was about 18 or 19 years old. I'm 27 now. I thought, maybe I can take this experience and turn it into something positive or something therapeutic for me. Because when I found out, I didn't cry about it. I wasn't upset. It was, life happens. It's something that I had to deal with. I couldn't put blame on anybody. So I said, well, a coping mechanism for me was to help other people to get through what I was going through.
Okay. So did you go get tested and you found out, or you just, was something going on, or like how did you find out that you was HIV positive? Like, if you don't mind me.
No, I don't mind. I was dating a guy. I was about 18 or 19 years old.
How old are you right now?
27.
Okay,
so it got to the point where, I'm free, I'm out of the house, I don't have to answer anybody. So me and my twin used to have parties all the time. Some of them group parties where, I would have a bunch of people come into my room and we would just have a whole lot of fun together.
Oh, okay.
But I had a really good connection with this one guy. And we messed around probably for about a year and a half. I remember I had a cute little convertible at the time. Someone had cut my top open. Okay. So I went to go to get the top of my car fixed, and he lived not far from the shop that I was going to get my car fixed at. I had recently saw him probably about a month prior. So I went to knock on his door because it wasn't uncommon for us to, just pop up at each other's houses. Like, we really didn't care. His cousin answered the door and was like, he's not here anymore. So I'm like, okay, well then why are you at his house? Now I knew his cousin too. So I'm like, okay, well why are you at the house if he's not here? So I went back, knocked on the door again after my car had gotten fixed. And I was like, okay, so are you sure he's not here? So she then told me that he died from cancer. And I'm like, well, I just saw him and he had long, really curly hair. So I'm like, okay, well maybe he didn't go through chemotherapy. It was a lot of things that were going through my head. So I decided to call his best friend. And he was like, well, what have you heard? And I was like, well, his cousin told me that he had died from cancer. And I was like, but that just doesn't sit right with me. I'm like, something is a little off. So he then told me that he died from AIDS. He didn't know that he had HIV throughout the whole time. And I kind of sat in shock for a minute. I was like, because I was young. So I'm like, okay, well, we never used protection. Like, I trusted him a lot. Okay,
so you said he didn't know he had HIV?
No, he didn't know.
He didn't know. Okay, so he's not being evil.
Right, no, he wasn't being evil, wasn't spiteful. So, I mean, that was one of the reasons why I don't think I ever got upset. Another thing is, I can't fault him because I knew the part that I played in it. You know what I mean?
It takes two to tango.
Right. So his best friend, after him telling me all of that, he was like, well, maybe you should go and get tested. And I said, you know what? I think that's what I'm going to do. So I think I waited. It was either 2 days to 7 days. And I decided to go and get tested where my mother is a doctor. She hooked me up with a few of her friends, and we went on and got the test done. It came back that I was positive. Like, when I heard that he had died from AIDS, I just knew that I had it. So I kind of had those couple days to prepare myself for the news that I was about to hear. The nurse, she was more emotional than I was. She came over, she was hugging me and crying me and kissing me like, oh, baby, it's going to be okay.
Poor baby.
And I'm like, it is what it is. Like, it's not a death sentence anymore. I'm not worried about dying. I've seen people to live to be so old and have the virus. You know what I mean? Luckily, I had the support of my parents. They were always there for me in my corner. The day that I found out, I started taking medicine. So that whole fear thing, it was never an issue. But I think that's about when I said, I'm going to switch my major and I'm going to use this experience to help other people in my situation.
See, and that's good, because by you even like being open with that, and for you to be open with that, that's going to help a lot of people, because they see how positive you are about it. Because a lot of people, they take the word and they make it into a negative. You get what I'm saying? When it could be a positive. I'm glad that you are with your situation, because this leads to the conversation I want to talk about. I actually had about 7 friends that passed away from the virus. I had one friend, he was my best friend, name was Guy. He passed away, but when he was on his deathbed, he was denying that he was sick. And I think that he did that because he couldn't tell us, because we was like, when we was young, we was like 22, 23, dumb. Like, we used to be like, don't talk to him, he's sick. Don't talk to her, she's sick. Don't do that. Like, and we made it into a negative instead of a positive, and I felt really, really bad, because that was my best friend, and I felt like he couldn't tell me, But, after he died, I never played with that word again. So what I want to ask you, have you ever felt like you could you confide in a friend? Did you worry about them telling people? Or how did you feel about that?
I've never had a problem disclosing my status, because I think a lot of the issue is that there's so much stigma attached to the word HIV, that people are not comfortable talking about it. And because they're not comfortable talking about it, the rates between men who sleep with men of color in our age bracket are so high.
Yeah.
What I wanted to do is take the shame out of being HIV positive. I've never been ashamed of it. Everywhere that I have a picture in a profile, it's there. I have the ribbon tattooed on me. What is there to be ashamed of?
Well, see, the thing about it is that, like, in this gay scene, in this world, you have so many negative people out there. Like, for instance, they made a page on Instagram exposing the sick girls, and they had a lot of people on there. And, you know, I just felt like that was wrong, like, you know, because that's something that nobody should know about you. I think that should be your business, because people, they like to take it, and they could, if you weak, they can break you down. You get what I'm saying? So I just feel like, you know, how could we fix that? Like, what can you tell people out there about that? Like, you know, to confide in a friend to help them out, like, you know, with the situation.
Well, it's always easier when you have someone to talk to. The stance that I've taken on it is, I don't care who knows. Because in instances like that where you have an Instagram page or a Facebook page or Twitter account and everyone's posting, you know, oh, this person has HIV or this person has it, there's nothing bad that anybody can say about me because everybody already knows. So what ammo do you have against me to say, you can look on my page, you can look on my Facebook, and it says it right there, clear as day.
Right.
You know, I took a stance to enlighten people about HIV. So when I talk to people or I go on dates, if I meet someone that I like, generally I'll tell them probably within the first 5 or 10 minutes because it protects them from getting hurt and it protects me from getting hurt. And I say that because if I'm telling you now, or put it this way, if I didn't tell you and now we all have feelings attached and you feel a certain way for me and I feel a certain way for you, and then I all of a sudden tell you I have HIV, now you probably thinking, well, I don't want to be with you because I didn't expect that. So now we're both hurt and we're both in our feelings. Right. As opposed to me telling you up front, now if you can deal with it, cool, we can rock together. If not, deuces. Right.
So, okay. So when you tell these people, how do they react?
Generally, it's a reaction of respect. Because, again, like you say, a lot of people don't tell you. So the fact that I can just freely in a conversation say, yeah, I've been positive for 9 years. People respect that, you know, because I'm giving them a choice to, you know, rock with me or leave me alone.
Yeah, you know, that's pretty cool because, you know, I have a lot of friends that are HIV positive, and, you know, you have some that go fuck people raw. You have some that fuck people and use a condom and don't tell nobody. Like, do you think it's wrong to do that? Or, because it's like, on this thing, how are you supposed to do that? Like, because you tell this person, you like, okay, is this person gonna go back and tell everybody? Or is this person gonna start acting weird towards me? You know, like, do you think it's wrong? Like, just to even have sex with somebody and wear a condom knowing that you're HIV positive? Or do you just think that, oh, I'm gonna tell him, and if he wanna do it, he wanna do it? Like, do you think that's wrong?
I mean, there's not one blanket answer because everyone's situation is different. Obviously, in the ideal world, I would choose for you to tell the person, yes, I have HIV, and give them the choice and the power to decide what it is that they want to do. Because in my experience, there are a lot of people that don't mind being with someone who's HIV positive and they're negative. So give them that choice. You know what I mean? In instances where if you're not going to tell them, at least wear a condom. Don't put them at risk. Right. But I'd rather you tell that person.
So have you ever, like, been with somebody, and say if you tell them, in the beginning they like, okay, I'm cool. Okay, that's cool, we can rock. And then all of a sudden, they don't want to really be seen with you in public because you're out with it and they don't want people to think they got it. Have you ever had that situation?
I don't think it was necessarily that situation. Like, I have had people that have been gung-ho to be with me when finding out my status, but somewhere down the line they had a doubt or a fear. They were perfectly fine with being seen with me in public. they weren't worried about, oh, he's with him, oh, so he probably has it. That's never been the issue. I think more of the issue has been, you know, there's a slight chance that I can get it. That would be the only issue.
So do you want to ever have kids one day?
I do want to have kids. I actually want a little boy. Have him in his little cardigan and his little bow tie and his little boots. So I do want kids. I do want a family. I know that there's different ways that I can have children. Sperm washing, which is really expensive, but if I want someone with my DNA, you know, that's an option. I can find a woman who is also positive, and you know, she can have a baby, and you know, with the C-section, chances are the baby will come out negative. You know, that's another option. Or I can adopt. There's plenty of babies that need a home.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, because some people, when they find out they have HIV, they're like, oh, I want to have kids, I can't have kids. You can still have kids, and the baby still can be negative. But I think a lot of people, when they have it, they don't want to really try to bring a kid into the world, because if they do, then if that kid come out positive, they're going to feel like, dang, like, I scarred this baby. Like, you get what I'm saying?
But that's why we have to take the stigma out of it. It's if the baby has HIV, I would adopt a baby that has HIV. Like, to me, that doesn't matter, because with the medicine and the technology that we have nowadays, you can live a long, productive, healthy life and still do. I've done all the things that I have wanted to do. HIV has not stopped me from doing anything.
Do you feel weird, like, when you, like, say for instance, you know, you get your medication, do you feel weird when you take it? Do your medicine make you feel weird? Because a lot of people I know, they're scared to take their pills because they feel like, oh, it's gonna make me dizzy, or it's gonna make me fall out, or, you know, like, do it make you feel weird, or do it make you actually feel more healthier? Like, how does that feel?
I've taken a AAA for 9 years, so it's like, I call it a horse tranquilizer, because it's like really big, and it's 3 medicines in one. I've taken that for 9 years. It makes me high and a little loopy, but at the end of the day, who doesn't want to feel a little loopy, a little high? I mean, we all take Vicodin, we all know that feeling. So it doesn't bother me. I get a mail to the house. If you don't feel comfortable going to pick them up, you know, they have mail services and all different types of things like that. But fortunately, I'm undetectable. I've taken the same thing for 9 years. I haven't formed a resistance to it. I'm not allergic to anything, so it's helped. I tell people, the day that you find out, get on medicine, like immediately, because in the long run, it'll pay off, and you'll really appreciate it.
Okay. So that's cool. Like, I was just saying, I'm just like, you're so brave. Like, I'm like, I have so much respect for you. Like, because I know when we first met, you know, said hi to each other, but we was both up in Greg's office, and you was talking, you just telling me, and I'm like, I want you to come on my show and talk about it. Like, you know, because I feel like if people see you talking about it, they gonna be like, you know what, it's not the end of the world, and I can get tested, and I can get help. So with that being said, I want to thank you for coming to my show, but I also want you to stay here, because I'm actually gonna call a good friend, Greg, out. He works for Reach LA, and I want him to come because he's, you know, he does a lot of HIV and AIDS awareness. So we're gonna bring Greg out. Welcome back to Beyond the Runway. I'm your host, Aniche Smith, and we have a special guest now in the building. It's a Deputy Director of Reach LA, Mr. Greg Wilson. How are you doing? Welcome to my show, finally.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Okay, so we're gonna jump right back onto the situation. I was talking to him about, you know, people being open with their HIV status, and I know that you work at Reach LA and you do a lot of HIV awareness.
Absolutely.
So can you please tell me a little bit about that? What made you want to, you know, get into that field? What made you feel so strongly about it?
Yeah, of course I can tell you. I would say that it really began with me being a part of the house and ball community and actually seeing people from the community dying. And seeing that most people were really afraid to talk about it and talk about what really happened. So most times you just hear this person passed away or they just happen to disappear. But nobody ever would discuss exactly what was going on or why this was happening. So it took for one of my mentors and our house father to mention to me what really was going on and to talk about HIV, and for me to have never heard about it. It kind of made me a little nervous, because I was like, wait, so this is going on, but nobody's talking about this, and people are dying from this, but I still have not one bit of education about this. So it got me to the point where I was like, I don't want this to happen to me. So I wanted to become more educated about it. I wanted to make sure that I put myself in a position to where I can then educate other people about it, because I figured if this information is available, but no one knew how to access it, then that's going to be the problem in itself.
Yeah, that's going to be the problem in itself, because the thing about it is that a lot of people, they pass and people be like, oh, they died of HIV. Oh, that person passed. How'd they die? They were sick. Oh, that person, he died of HIV. He did that. Like, I'm tired of hearing that, because it's sad, and I think that we need to put a stop to it, but also we need to put a positive name on it, because it can be a negative. You get what I'm saying? And stuff. And like, I'm tired of people not able to tell their friends, and I'm tired of people, when they confide in their friend go back and tell them. So with that being said, I want to know, do you think it's wrong for people to go and repeat that to other people?
Well, I'm going to start by saying the hard part is knowing that people are only discussing it after someone passes away.
Yeah.
So I think that's the first issue at hand. But then I think the real thing is, you know, people deal in life, they're afraid of rejection. So a lot of times people are afraid to tell people things about themselves, whether it's about their status, whether it's about other things, based upon the rejection they feel they might get. They're afraid that, okay, my friends may not accept me, my parents may not accept me. So for that reason, they rather keep it to themselves. And then it's also hard for people that don't even understand themselves what is happening to them to try to explain to somebody else what's happening to them. So I think that it is kind of interesting when it comes to trying to find social support or support systems of people that can really be there to support the person while they go through these things, because a lot of people don't understand it. And as I was mentioning earlier, like, a lot of people are not educated enough about it to really understand that you can maintain a healthy lifestyle, or that it's not a death sentence, or that it's something that you shouldn't share with everybody in the world. So of course it's wrong for someone to tell someone else's business. And I also feel like when a person comes to Reach LA and get tested and the results are positive, what we most likely do is we kind of help them understand what's going to happen before we have them going and talking to everybody else about their status, because we want to make sure that they actually can deal. We want to make sure we counsel them, and then at that point we start offering options for them to understand how to talk to their partners, and if they want to talk to their parents, how to do that also.
Right, okay. I feel like if you're a friend, I feel like you should not repeat that. Period, point blank. If you tell somebody that, if you confide into somebody, you shouldn't say that at all. So if you want to fight a person for them doing that, do you think that's the right thing to do, or is it not the right thing to do? And I know it's kind of like a tricky question, but it's like, I want to know your opinion on that.
Well, it's not tricky for me. I don't fight.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, because you know, a lot of people that's something that you know, you should not do.
I learned a long time ago, and especially listening to Evion speak on his experiences. Like, I learned early on that no one should have to feel they have to live in regret. So if you feel that you can't trust someone enough with the information you provide, then you got to kind of be cautious about the information you're providing that person. So I think that a lot of times people do want someone that can be there for them, but at the same time, you have to know that, like Evion said, you know, sometimes by you sharing what you feel that is one thing that people can hold against you, sometimes they can't hold nothing else against you. But I do also understand that in certain environments, like a lot of times if someone is afraid of being alone, they're not going to share that with everybody. But and then also, you got to understand support comes in different ways. So some people come to Reach LA for their support. They may not need to talk to their friends if they don't trust their friends enough to do that. So they might come to Reach LA and come talk to myself or talk to Martha or whoever else who works there, because they know that we are not coming from a judgmental standpoint. They know that we are not going to tell anybody their business, and then they also understand that they get to get it out of their system so they can really get ideas and options as to how they can deal with what they're coping with.
So you say people come up to Reach LA to talk to you about stuff like that. You also have a Overness leadership meeting that happens every Wednesday. Tell me a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Well, Overness leadership is primarily helping and assisting young people with getting leadership skills beyond just getting jobs and all that kind of stuff. But I say leadership skills because it helps them understand how to lead themselves in the community and in their own environments. So like a lot of times people come to the groups because it gives them an outlet so they can discuss different issues and topics that really impact their community. But another thing that they get is fellowship with other young people that are going through either similar situations or other young people that have perspectives that can help them with their lives. I think another component that's really relevant about Overness is the fact that, like, a lot of times if a person is positive and they want to come and just have a place where they can belong and feel welcomed when they may not feel welcomed in their everyday environments, they can come there and we can have discussions. They won't be judged. They can just have a good time and meet new friends, because a lot of times you would feel alone in that situation. So it's really good for someone to be able to come into an environment and know that, hey, I'm not going to judge you. We're going to love you, because we base everything, the foundation is love.
Right.
Because it's like, who are we to judge anybody?
Right.
But I do feel that those are some elements that Reach LA provides, and beyond that, we also assure that they get their lives together to where they can be whoever they imagine themselves to be.
Yep. Yep.
So I think that's one thing.
Yep, and if you want to come to the meetings, they're Wednesday. They start at 7 o'clock. They give you food.
Yes,
you know, so if you want to eat, you know, come up there and eat. And, you know, you can talk about a lot of good stuff, but also you go to the leadership meetings also. So I want to know, what have you got out of that? What have you learned from that? Like, why do you go?
I started going because I think the week that I moved here, I sent Greg an email. Like, I'm looking for somewhere to go so I can meet people. I don't know anybody. I'm out here by myself. And I came and I met you. I met a lot of other people. And I talked to you guys all the time. I think more than I talked to my friends back home. So I think it was just a great way for me to come, get to meet people, share some of my stories. Every time I talk, you guys are always willing to listen. So I love it. I feel comfortable. I feel at home.
Yeah.
And can I add something else? Like, one other thing that I just want to add, especially looking at you both and how much you guys contribute to the community based upon just your education and your passion, I think that one thing we also do is we want to develop the opportunity for young people to get more educated so that way they can become more advocates in their community, so they can help other people that may not feel comfortable coming to myself or to agencies, you know?
Yeah.
So that way when we go talk to our friends or our peers, we can educate them so they can learn how to gain and seek support from their friends.
Right.
So it's a little bit different, but it's something that tends to work.
Right. Okay. So I want to ask another question. So y'all have an openness ball every year,
Yes,
like
we
what,
do.
around November, December? No, it's
It
December.
changes up.
It changes up. It
This
changes
year's gonna
up.
be in October.
And I know a lot of people, you know, a lot of organizations is trying to like get into that to throw balls, but I feel like, you know, some of the organizations, like, they want to go there, but they really didn't want to do what really is right.
Let me tell you the real.
Yeah.
What's going on is this. A lot of agencies that Beyond Reach LA, I'm saying not us, but a lot of agencies, they tend to see that there's money possibilities in helping a population that they're not really passionate about.
Exactly.
Reach LA, we have myself, I've been a part of the ballroom scene since for over 12 years. We have Sean, he's been part of the ballroom scene for like 40 years.
50, I'm just playing. We love you, Sean.
You love me, but you know. So, you know, he's been a part of the ballroom scene, but you really have genuine people that are from a passionate place that understand the culture, because we're part of the culture. This is where we came from. This is our family.
Yeah.
So, of course, we're going to come from a different approach. We're going to come from a different type of passion because we understand the challenges. We understand the things that we're missing, the missing pieces. I remember being a part of the ballroom scene and, you know, nobody was there passing out condoms.
Yeah.
And then after a while, I started seeing Reach LA pop up. This is before I worked at Reach LA. So
Yeah,
said,
I remember.
Okay, you know, but I'm a person that don't trust agencies because I'm like, most times they don't last.
Yeah.
They sit up there, come there, get their numbers, and they hit it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's a money opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yep, and you can get grants and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
But see, what people don't know about us is that we don't get funding like that for that. We have to find unrestricted funding and allowing us the opportunity to do what we know is needed in the community.
Yep.
And we don't do it seeking any money back.
Yep.
We do it because we know that it's important for the kids. We do it because we're passionate about it. And we also do it because it's an incentive to allow people to get tested, to know their status, so we have an opportunity to educate them about it.
Exactly.
So that's what we do differently. And I feel that based on the fact that we come from a passionate place, that's the reason why we're going on to the 9th over this ball.
Yeah.
That's the reason why we're going to consistently remain one of the biggest balls in Los Angeles, because we definitely care about the people.
Yep.
And it's not about the money.
And you know what? And I'm so happy y'all started that, and I'm like so happy to be on board with it, because y'all actually reach our numbers. Y'all get the kids tested. If you don't know, when the next openness ball that's coming up, if you get tested, you get the ball for free.
Absolutely.
You know, the ball's $30, so you might want to go do that. Okay. But anyway.
And one thing, let me say this. One thing that's different about our agency also is the fact that, like, if somebody happens to already know their status, what we do is we don't want to make it seem as if they cannot also get a free pass. We want them to check in with us. We want them to let us know, okay, look, are you in care? If you're in care, are you happy with the care you're receiving? If you're not in care, can we provide care for you? So it's like we allow people to also check in if they already know their status, because we recognize the fact that people tend to feel like left out. Because it makes it seem as if we're awarding everyone that is not positive, but the ones that happen to, be infected or whatnot, they're going to feel like, okay, now I'm ostracized because I happen to be infected. So what we do is we make sure we have an opportunity for everybody. And you meet with a counselor, no matter what, we want to make sure everybody's good and taken care of. That's what matters in the end.
So yes, high five. Give me a high five.
Yes.
Yeah, I love Reach LA. So besides the HIV, besides the openness meetings, is there anything else? Y'all got any other services y'all provide?
Absolutely.
What else?
Let me tell you. Well, for one, we want to make sure that everybody's taken care of all the way around. So we have everything from intense counseling, which is called Clear, where we do from 5 to 27 sessions, one-on-ones with individuals if they need to get their goals together, if they need to understand how to, just kind of deal with things that they're dealing with in life. Yes, and then we also have youth transitional case management, which is pretty much what we utilize for young people that are just finding out they're HIV positive.
Okay.
And we wanted to make sure that we had somebody that can actually walk through the steps with them and help them understand what it means and how to deal and how to get resources and, get referrals into what they need.
Yeah.
Besides that, we have social enterprise. That's how we throw all these amazing events. Because through our social enterprise department, they do our marketing and promotion, but they also help us throw these prevention and HIV education events that allows us the opportunity to find creative and innovative ways to really educate our community, because of course handing somebody a condom and saying use this is not necessarily as effective as it used to be.
Right, it's
you
not.
know what I mean?
It's not, yeah. So, you kind of got to talk to these people, show them, hello.
And then the last program that we pretty much have is it's called Artists. And so what happens if a person drops out of care, what we do is we actually find them. We find a way to get them re-engaged. We want to ensure that if they had concerns, we want to address those concerns and make sure that they have anything taken care of that they need. So that way we can make sure they get back in care and take care of their lives.
That's good, that's great. See, I love it. I love Reach LA because they have all these resources and they got all this stuff, these programs to get these kids saved. So, you can't save everybody, but if you can save at least about 70 or 80% of the scene, that's great. Okay.
And of course we do testing.
Oh yeah, right. Exactly. And if you get tested, you get a free movie ticket. They got McDonald's cards and all that stuff. There's a lot of things you can get. I'm telling you, it's a come up. Okay. But anyway, so I want to ask you before we wrap this show up: is there anything out there that you can say to the people to empower them, to make them stay into care? People that fall out of care, people that find out and that want to kill themselves. Do you have any encouraging words so they can know that this is not the end of the world?
Pretty much what you said. This is not the end all be all. The main goal is to get into care, because that's going to be the way that you're going to take care of yourself. Me being positive for 9 years, I think me finding out that I was positive, I've never been so healthy in my whole entire life. I don't get sick. You cough, stay over there. You know what I mean? So it's do that. Take the steps to know your status. If you are negative, do what you need to do to stay negative. If you are positive, find organizations like Reach LA that are going to help you, get your life back on track. Again, this is not the end of the world. You can live a full, long, healthy life and still do everything that you want to do.
Yes, and also, when people, they find out they're positive, they be like, okay, I already have it, I can have sex raw. No, you can't. Make sure you wrap it up. Make sure you use a condom. Make sure you wrap it up no matter what. It's 2014. But I want to thank y'all for coming on my show. I want to thank you for talking about Reach LA. I want to thank you for talking about your status. You're going to help a lot of people. And I love you guys. Hugs.
Thank you.
Aw.
Group hugs. All right, yes. All right, I'm your host, Aniche Smith. And remember, everything go beyond the runway. See you next time.